I'm just curious, kind of been on the outside of this, saying, Vanessa, is there a possibility of litigation come January 1st on this if this doesn't get resolved?
Yeah, I guess it is there. If it doesn't get resolved, no, because we're not, the statutory language as we've read it and as we've talked to Congress about, doesn't require us to do anything affirmative as of January 3rd. It simply says that if we decide we're going to pass rules that incorporate standards, they've got to be made available for free on the internet to the public. So technically, I suppose we could be sued if we promulgated rules that included standards that were not available for free. I doubt OMB would allow those to clear because they know we're subject to those standards. Secondarily, I'll answer your question in a slightly different way. If we were to post standards, and one suggestion was for us to refer to a site that's currently up and alleges that it has posted all standards incorporated by the government on a website, we'd be reluctant to link to that because we also don't want to encourage other people to infringe. So, I think if we don't do that and we aren't saying, well, we think the standards are posted out in the world somewhere on a site for free, go look there, there's probably there's less likelihood that we would be sued for intellectual property infringement. We're not violating currently any of the other presidential executive orders or the NTTAA, for example, or SBIF or any of those. But I think our solution, the solution we ultimately develop, we will have to be cognizant of the fact that those other statutory frameworks are out there that encourage the government to incorporate standards whenever we issue a rule, that we have to make sure they're still written in plain language, that we have to assure that we're not violating other people's intellectual property rights. So no, I don't think there's any litigation, but that also is contingent upon how we implement Section 24.
One more question? Lois.
Lois Epstein, Pipeline Safety Trust Board. So this has been a good but somewhat abstract discussion about the issues, and we've heard that there are certain organizations that are not yet in compliance, and they may or may not have legitimate reasons for that. I was hoping that one of the two of you could let us know which organizations, or at least a few of the key ones, because I think if there's anything the public can do to weigh in with some of those organizations that are maybe being recalcitrant without a good reason, that would be helpful.
Either one of us, yes?
Yes.
Well, I'll start, and then I'll let the PSDOCC respond. But we've met with and communicated with the SDOs that we currently incorporate by reference. So we've spoken to all 20 of them. All except for ASME and a smaller SDO who I actually won't name because I think they are going to agree. So really the only, I think, difficult business model scenario has been with ASME. They have said we receive hundreds of $millions in global revenue for our standards because it is the preeminent. We have 7 of their standards, and one of them, the boiler pressure code, is the preeminent global standard. And they've said it's almost not worth us selling it to you as the government for $150,000 to jeopardize $400 million of global revenue. That's how much we pay at PHMSA for their particular standards. So I don't know, knowing that all of the SDOs do not have the same model. Some were posting for free long before Section 24. Some have come to us after the July 13th website and said, well, we'd never really thought about it. We might be able to change our business model because we have ancillary lines of business like consulting or training that they can absorb the loss of sales for their standards. And some of them, like ASME, although ASME right now is sort of the predominant SDO we still need to work with, have said, we just don't have that business model. We've been around for over 100 years. The model we developed was sell standards, fund research, fund SDO participation, fund the creation of new standards. We don't do training. We don't do consulting. We don't have another line of business, and we don't know when we will be able to change our business model to absorb the loss of standards. I think they said, I'm paraphrasing, but I think they pretty much said that in the July 13th workshop and haven't deviated from that very much. I don't know if you know more than that, but that's my current assessment of it.
All right, thank you. We're going to have to move on. Like I said, very complicated.